Hi guys, welcome to the Man United Agenda. Sorry we're late, it's not my fault. It's not Pat's fault. It's Dan's fault. Dan's new to the channel. Welcome, Dan. Tonight we're talking about the Man United sell possibility and potential buyers as well. So welcome to the Man United Agenda. Hi guys, welcome to the Man United Agenda. It's half 8. I hope you're not watching the World Cup. You should be watching us. World Cup so far. Let's have a little intro here. Pat, are you enjoying it? I mean, we were talking about, we don't want the Premiership to end. The World Cup shouldn't be in the winter. But has anything sparked your sort of passion for the game again with the World Cup so far?
I was up for Argentina to win it, and I was happy to see them be winning 1-0. And then all of a sudden I checked on the live score and they're being beaten 2-1. So that's what I like about the World Cup. Any dog can win on a day, you know?
I'll tell you something. They always say, don't they, Dan, about the levels. The World Cup is the pinnacle. This is the highest level of football. But we've seen some big whoopings so far. I mean, Spain today, England the other day. I mean, what do you think about the standard? And are you enjoying the game so far?
I mean, I'm not too big on international football. I mean, I like watching the World Cup, but I'm not too big when it comes to international football. I feel like that these teams like Saudi Arabia and Japan today beating Germany, I feel like these teams will be doing better than the more like the Germanys and France, for example. I feel like these teams will be getting beaten because these teams mainly have the more bigger players with where they've been playing 2 to 3 games a week every single week for the entire season. So I feel like the players naturally they will be a lot less fit, and the games will be a lot more equal. And I feel like it will just come down to the better players on the night or games, should we say, in the World Cup.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like we're talking about games like Iran and today Costa Rica getting outclassed completely. So there's a big gulf between the top teams and maybe the lower ranked teams. But then you're talking about Japan getting a win today and Saudi Arabia coming back. Maybe Canada could come back. It's halftime. They're 1-0 down. So do you think the gap is increasing, or do you think teams are getting closer to sort of that level to level it out?
I just think it's good for football. I honestly don't mind it. It makes a great World Cup. It makes it very entertaining. We're talking about Germany losing 2-1 to Japan. We're talking about Saudi Arabia beating Argentina 2-1 as well. I think it's great for the World Cup and it makes it a lot entertaining. It doesn't make it the favourites winning and topping the group by winning every single game. So for me, I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on teams like Argentina and Germany now, because they know they have to win the rest of their games now, which I think what makes the World Cup a lot better.
Definitely makes it more exciting, eh, Pat? I think 15 minutes to go in the Belgium-Canada game as well. Canada looked really good. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they've got legs. They're really working hard, and they're starting to have some sort of familiar names around Europe. There's some of these players are breeding themselves around Europe. Starting off in Belgium, you got Davis as well. So maybe it is sort of like fusing in now. We're getting to the stage where teams, it's all leveling out, and teams like Canada and Japan are starting to sort of step up and produce the goods. We're going to move on now because we're here to talk about our club. Just going to ask you quickly, it's still part of the intro. I mean, Dan, I haven't spoken to you. It's the first time speaking to you about this. Just quickly summarize your thoughts and then go on to you, Pat, about the Ronaldo saga. Was Ronaldo in the wrong? Is he good enough to play for Man United? Should he be starting? Should he have gone to the press and had that Piers Morgan interview? And are you happy with the conclusion? And also about the sale of the club, which has been announced quickly now.
So many questions at once, but yes. So
that's what you get here, Dan.
Well, it's good. It keeps me on my toes. But anyway, so with the Ronaldo situation, I personally think it was best for all parties for Ronaldo to leave Manchester United. It was best for Manchester United and it's best for Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah. I personally feel like when I watched the Piers Morgan interview, and I saw where Ronaldo said that he felt like the black sheep of the team this season and last season, where he felt like that with the criticism he would get. But for me, that made me confused because to me, last season, David De Gea and Ronaldo were the only players who didn't drop their standards. Last season, they were the reason we came 6th place last season. And I feel like that if it wasn't for them too, we probably would have ended up mid-table because everyone dropped their standards last season. It was a terrible season with the likes of Ole going, Ranić situation. it was a complete mess. Obviously, the situation what happened with a certain number 11. I don't know if you mentioned his name on the channel, so that's why I'm going to say that. So I feel like that last season was a complete mess. And I feel like that if it wasn't for a player like, if it wasn't for Ronaldo and De Gea, we probably would have ended up in mid-table. But just to add on with the more recent situation with Ronaldo, I feel like that the interview was a goodbye to United fans. I feel like that Ronaldo knew exactly what he was doing. He knew United would react and sack him because that's what he wanted. He wanted to leave the club. And he went, that's the best way I can do it. And he went, and I can also give some insight to Man United fans about how I'm feeling and why I want to do this. So I do end on good terms with United fans. So as a whole, I feel like that it is best for all parties. Do I think Ronaldo was in the wrong? Yes, because I feel like that if he really cared about the fans like he claims he does, he would have done it as soon as he joined Manchester United and he saw the states that it was in. I feel like he's only saying it all now because he wanted to leave Manchester United. Yeah. But that's just my opinion. But I still have the most respect for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well put. And just your thoughts, finally, before we're going to move on to it now. Are you excited with the news that maybe the Glazers are going to sell the club? We're going to go into more detail, but how do you feel about that? It's like two major bits of news in a week.
Yeah, it's great news. I mean, I saw videos on Twitter last night of fireworks going off near Old Trafford because obviously the Glazers coming out, and thankfully it was green and yellow fireworks as well. So they, obviously fans planned it for a special occasion. They probably hit it that special moment, and they just saved them for 15 years or whatever. No, I feel like it's great. As long as we get a good owner and we don't end up with another owner like the Glazers, I don't think anything could go wrong. And with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, as much as I know that...
Oh, no, hold on, Dan. We're going to go into that. You're just teaming me up. You're assisting me right now. Right now. So, Pat, what do you... I mean, Dan's gone into great detail there. He clearly knows, loves the club, clearly knows a lot about the situation. We're going to talk about like the whole closure, what's disclosure now of what's happened. How do you feel, rather than before we go into detail, but how does it make you feel? Because I haven't heard from you, Pat, about this.
About the Glazers coming out and selling the club? Yeah. Well, the first thing that came to mind was, Jesus, was the whole Ronaldo incident the straw that broke the camel's back? Why are they doing it now? Is a coincidence, you know? So you're sitting back and you're looking at it, you're going to yourself, like, are they just teasing us now? Are they really going to sell the club? Are they just trying to sell part of the club? You know, are they just trying to sell sections of it? Trying to get us a little bit excited when they're not really going to sell it. But look, there's no smoke without fire, and it looks good at the moment. Yeah. I'm happy. There's
no fireworks from you then last night?
No, I'm going to keep mine just for a little bit longer. You know, I have to be in the hot press so they don't go. So when I light it, it doesn't go about 4 foot in the air, you know.
All right, guys, 17 in the comments and chat. Give us a like button. Say hi to Dan. First time we're all meeting Dan. He's going to represent today and give us some insight into Man United as well. And first of all, as we always do, it's funny last night because we were talking about a new, owners coming in. They need to sort out the training ground, all that kind of thing. If you do want to sort out the training ground, come to our sponsor. That would be GMS, Global Mapping Surveys. They assist architects, property developers and construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning and monitoring. And the link is in the description, guys. That's Global Mapping Surveys. Okay, we're done with Ronaldo. We've been waffling about that all week. Suddenly, the big news, it comes through. It's about the Glazers. They're going to give up. I'm just going to read a little bit here about the information for those who don't know. So Man United are up for sale, according to recent reports. The club owners are set to receive their first offer. That's according to a recent report by The Telegraph, who claimed the British billionaire Sir Jim Ratcliffe will make an offer to take over the Red Devils, following a statement released by the Glazers yesterday on Tuesday evening. Addressing fans via the club website, executive co-chairman and directors Avon Glazer and Joe Glazer said the strength of Man United rests on the passion and the loyalty of our global community of 1.1 billion fans and followers. As we seek to continue building on the club's history of success, the board has authorized a thorough evaluation of strategic alternatives. We will evaluate all options to ensure that we best serve our fans and that Manchester United maximizes the significant growth opportunities available to the club today and in the future. Throughout the process, we will remain fully focused on serving the best interests of our fans, shareholders, and various stakeholders. So there you go. So obviously, Ratcliffe is no, I don't know. This is why I'm asked to ask a question. Pat, talk to me about Jim Ratcliffe, because the only information I got about him is that he's a boyhood United fan. And but I know there's been a lot going on recently with his association with football club and football as well. But what about his history before that? What do you know about him?
Well, what I know about Jim at the moment is Jim is part of the Ineos Petrochemical Group, okay? Now, these guys, they're not short of a few bob, you know? They've got about 65 billion pocket change sitting around the place at the moment. And they're doing all right for themselves at the same time, you know? They're involved in Formula One, but they're also involved in football as well. That club being the French club Nice. So I was very interested when I found out that he bought Nice back in 2019 for pocket change of 100 million. He should have bought two of them. Okay, but he bought them in 2019. Now, if I wanted to try and have some sort of benchmark for how Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Ineos group were going to run Manchester United, or what their expectations would be I'd go and look at Nice, look them up and see how they've progressed since 2019. So when Ratcliffe took over, his brother made a statement, okay, that Jim Ratcliffe hopes to make Nice one of the strongest teams of France after his company Ineos bought the club. His brother Bob said in the news of conference that he hopes to make them a top 5 club in the next couple of years and then French champions. Okay, so look, fair enough. They're interested in improving the club. The only thing that caught my eye since they took over is they took over in 2019 and Patrick Vieira was the manager. But the only thing they have done since 2019 consistently is they've sacked the manager every year. So they've had a new manager every year. Patrick Vieira in the 2020 year. 2021, Adrian Urcia, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize. 2021 to 22, it was Christopher Galtier. And now currently they have a Swiss fella called Lucien Favre. And that's 4 managers, Omundi, in 4 years. Now, what would that say to you if you're a Manchester United fan looking in the shop window at Nice going, what's Jim Ratcliffe going to do to our club?
That would say to me, it's not very Nice. I mean, no. But anyway, let's move on. I want to say hi to Simon Davis. And he's been going off in the comments. But he's saying effing hypocrisy. They want effing paid off to be. They want off rapid. Swearing. Beep, beep, beep. Big up Simon Davis, though. Welcome to the channel. And just quick, strictly here, Matthew Bassett saying if it wouldn't be Jim, it would be Ineos who take over. They have a net worth of $65 million. Or he says, correction, $65 billion.
Even more, double figures.
Yeah. So you just heard from Pat there, Dan. We're going to go into I'm going to read out a little statement after you, but can you add to that? What do you know about Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Because he's got Sir. He's obviously been knighted by the Queen, or previously the Queen. Yeah. Rest in peace.
I mean, I think that Pat addressed it all perfectly. Strictly speaking, I feel like that.
Just say nicely or nicely.
But as a Pat addressed, he's pretty much summed it all great. I mean, I didn't know a lot about Jim Ratcliffe before the start of this year. It was only until a few months ago before Jim Ratcliffe said he wanted to buy United originally is when I started doing a little bit of research. But Pat's already said pretty much everything that I know. So I feel like that. My only personal opinion with it is that I know that he's loaded and I know he's got a quite big net worth, but I believe his net worth is only, I think it says 30 billion on Google or something. I say only, but if you're looking to be a Manchester United owner, you need to be a lot richer than that. And I feel like that with everything that United is coming, obviously it's not going to happen overnight. As I say, Rome wasn't built in a day. And I feel like that we won't be like Newcastle are, won't be like City are. But as long as Sir Jim Ratcliffe came, if he was to buy Manchester United, if he came into the club as the owner and was strictly for Manchester United, he wasn't using us as a profit game for his other businesses and stuff, then I don't think United fans would would issue. I honestly think United fans would take not having the Glazers and having a budget of 120 million every summer to going down to 80 million a summer. But we know that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is putting his own money into it, as well as what we generate as well.
So you were saying earlier you want the torch to pass on to someone who actually cares. I think those weren't your exact words, but with what you said and what Pat was saying about Jim Ratcliffe, would he be the main man for you because he's support of the club? But you mentioned about the money, obviously. But do you think he cares? He would invest properly, and he would sort of speak with the fans, or do all the things to prevent having a reputation like the Glazers, for example.
I feel like with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I know that if he really wants to buy Manchester United, he's not a stupid person. You know that he'll have investors coming in with him. So even though his net worth is 30 billion, no doubt he'll have other people coming in to help him and support the club. So maybe his net worth would then go up to 100 billion, for example, and then that would help the club a lot more financially. Because don't forget, we've got, from what Ronaldo has said as well, so this isn't like us predicting or thinking this. It's come out of Ronaldo's mouth that the technology, the training ground, the stadium is all outdated, and we need investment. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I mean, for the price tag that the Glazers have put us for, what is it, 6 to 8 billion they're asking for?
I even read 9 billion somewhere, Dan. You know that it's grown legs, man.
And for the amount of debt we're in as well, is that they have a lot of cheek to be asking for that. I know United are the best and biggest club in the world, but strictly speaking, that the Glazers must know that they can't be asking for that much when we've got as much debt as we have as well.
Well, the bigger the number, the bigger the headline. That's what I'm saying at the minute, Dan, right? So they're all throwing out the bigger number to sell the headlines. See, Chelsea were bought for 4 billion recently, right? But you're actually only bought for 2.4. The rest of it was 1.6 in investment. So I'd say what's going to happen here is the Glazers are going to look for Manchester United to be bought for, say, I'd say 3.5 billion. Throwing around figures like that. Like, I'd love to be involved in them. But they're probably going to be bought for about 3.5. Well, chance their arm for 3.5, and then it's going to be realistically, like Chelsea, another 1.6, 1.5 investment, which might bring it up to about 5 billion. But I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe will be just okay to purchase Manchester United with a net worth of about 30 billion, because our previous owners before the Glazers was JP Morgan, and their net worth's only 25 billion. Only now, remember.
Right. Just quickly, because we're talking about investment, we here at the Man United Agenda, we invest in people and people that support us. And we're going to try and put a bid in soon because Matthew Bassett keeps dropping £5 in. I can't read what you're saying here, Matthew, but I'm going to read out some other comments from you guys. So get your comments in, guys, because we are going to read it out. And if you guys in the panel, if you want us to touch on something, just jump in, please. Vincent Bullock is saying the problem is he bought Nice, but they haven't won anything. Maybe they need another team called Nephew. I am laughing out loud. Good one. Matthew Bassett saying Jim Ratcliffe isn't revered by OGC Nice. Emma Kay saying Ronaldo had nothing to do with this. Decisions like this don't happen overnight. It's been building since the Super League. Shite. We don't swear, but I would say shite. Sounds better. Robbie Norman, how you doing? All the way from Ireland, saying I think it will be a Dubai investment fund. Don't shoot the messenger. So
no, that's money. That's money they're talking about there now. 320 billion network for the Dubai investment. They could buy about 10 clubs.
Wow. Matthew Bassett is saying he would bring in a consortium, talking about Jim Ratcliffe. Bill Badger saying, what the F? Someone needs more than 30 billion. Nah, mate, we don't need that much. 5 billion to buy the club, 2 or 3 billion of investment. As soon as we start winning, the club starts... Someone swearing tonight.
It's the emotions. It's the emotions.
Emma Kay is saying, all I demand is that the new owners do not take money out of the club for themselves and for them to pay off the debt. The rest of the club's money can sort, especially if it's cheap, smart signings. Want to say hi?
Can I ask you a question? So obviously we know with the Chelsea sale, they sold very quickly, didn't they?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll drag this out and like drag it out and out until they have to sell, or do you think they'll make a very quick sale?
Can I just answer that as much as I can? Because I'm not qualified on finance, that kind of thing. Yes. Everyone knows that on the channel. So here, just news today. Man United have seen a stock market valuation rise by 17% following yesterday's announcement. 17 years on from the debt-ridden takeover, the Glazers could eventually decide to accept an offer to get out of town. According to the Express, Man United's stock price rose by 17% to 13.10 USD following the announcement. We can only wonder how long this will last, as well as speculation over who will take over from the American family. So I don't know about, but obviously the 70% is quite huge where the stock's gone up. So that's my answer. Pat, do you want to answer, Dan?
I have no idea, because it was done in a record of 10 days when normally it takes about 10 weeks. Okay. Now, could this have something to do with the whole Roman Abramovich thing? I wouldn't like to give me opinion on that because I'm not too up to date on that, and I'll end up putting my foot in my mouth. But it might have had something to do with it, you know. That's probably why. And I don't think you'll see that happening this quick at Manchester United. If it's anything like our sponsors, not our sponsors, our summer signings, it's probably going to take about 14 weeks.
So Robbie Norman's saying it's 22% now, and also saying 18.36 a share. So it's developing all the time. Yeah, our boss man Solo saying the rumours is that they will sell the club between 8.5 and 9 million. Simon Davis, again, big up man. He's saying it's weird when people read between the lines, they can see what's really going on. Touching on what Pat said, just come to you, Pat. I knew none of that information. Money makes the world go round, unfortunately. Very true, very true. Vince is saying the reason of asking for 9 billion is scary. Potential buyers. Why was I want a big number? They can steal the devil and snow for more fun. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to read this, Vincent. At least we were a big number. We won't have to worry. That's like a text talk. You know when people say text. I'm struggling to read. Emma saying no one's going to pay 8 or 9 billion for a club with almost 1 billion debt as well. There's issues there. And Matthew Bassett saying Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and other potential buyers are seriously looking at Manchester United Football Club. We're going to come to more, but I just want to read out something really key here. So we've got a statement here. I'm going to read it out for you guys so we can get some more sort of insight into what's going on here. Jim Ratcliffe will buy Manchester United after the Glazers formally put the club up for sale, although there remains a considerable difference between the valuations. The East, how do you pronounce it? Ineos owner.
Spanish footballer.
Comments are now seen as the start of a long negotiation process. So there you go. Could be a long negotiation process, Dan. While the Glazers want 6 billion and the Rain Bank mandated to oversee any sale are expected to push for a higher price in the manner they did with Chelsea, Ratcliffe is seeking to buy it for under 5 billion. He's expected to have competition from at least 2 other parties, one who also attempted to buy Chelsea. But that list is expected to grow as potential buyers now announce their intentions. The Independent is similarly being told that it was Fenway Sports Group that greatly influenced the Glazers' sporting surprising decision to confirm the club was for sale. Make of that, I don't know. Let's just talk about that quickly. What do you guys think about that? Because it does give us a bit more information here. He's talking about $5 billion. We talk about massive. I mean, I've got £5 in my pocket. He's talking about $5 billion to purchase the club. What would you say, Dan, is your gauging on what Chelsea was sold for and gauging on what other clubs are worth? What do you think Man United really should be valued at here? Because it's getting a bit ridiculous.
Well, I feel like with United, it's obvious that United are the biggest team in England. That's known for a fact because of our history and everything. Now, we are the most successful club at the moment in like recent years, but I would honestly, if Chelsea sold for what was it just under 3 billion? Was Chelsea sold for?
It was 2.45, I believe it was.
So, something like that. But I would honestly rate, I'd say between 5 and 6 billion. Yes, that's what I would rank us at, because don't forget about how many shirt sales there are. Like, I mean, if every season ticket holder at Old Trafford was to sell their season ticket, I can guarantee you that every single one would be bought out instantly.
Yeah.
So I feel like that no matter what, United will always be a big club and it'll always be a huge investment for anyone. So I just hope that the right buyer comes in. Like, question for you two, would you take a Saudi owner like Newcastle or City?
Go on, Pat. Go on. I've got a lot to say about that.
I would not like to say no, we ever wouldn't, because it's becoming a going trend. You know, Man City are owned by Abu Dhabi, PSG is Qatar, Newcastle are the Saudi owners. It's becoming more and more of a going trend in football, and it looks like if you don't keep up with it, you're going to fall behind. That's probably one way of looking at it. Like, the option is it'd have to be on the table on who it is, who it is, and it all depends on who it is, basically.
Yeah, my response to that, I mean, I'm just going to read out what Emma's saying here. We were self-sustainable before the Glazers with updates to the squad, training ground, and stadium basically every year. Surely we can get back to that. As Dan was saying, yeah, we are the biggest club. We can generate money from merchandise, as we've seen. Like even on the show, we've got an international audience. I mean, the club's loved all around the world. They've invested so much over the years. I think that Fergie era as well, with the launch of Premier League and the Premier League being shown all over the world, we've got a lot of fans out there, and I think we can be self-sustainable without before the Glazers. That is a fact. I would personally, after what we've been through with these sort of international foreign billionaires or consortiums coming in, I would prefer, I don't want to go Middle East. I think that's a risk because you lose your identity maybe. I would like to keep Man United British because they're a British club, and maybe be self-sustainable and battle against these Middle Eastern investors like Man City and all these other clubs that are coming out like Newcastle. With an identity, with having a sort of ID where the fans would say, no, we don't need that. We can be self-sustainable and battle you guys on level playing field.
Just a question for you both as well. Do you think that there should be a budget limit for teams in the Premier League where, like, so I feel like that the place should come in the previous season, and then the owners, if they want to invest their own money, they can only invest a certain amount into the club. Do you think that should be a limit that should be implemented into the Premier League? So teams don't spend 200 to 300 million every single summer.
Pat?
I think that's never going to happen because the more money that gets invested in football is better for the people who own it. I think at the moment it's a bit of a fairy tale story that everybody would like to have for Jim Ratcliffe to take over the club because he's the ex-Manchester United supporter, isn't it? He's one of us. That's what people would be feeling, isn't it? And like I've as I said, he's not afraid to invest in the club. We looked up Nice. You might be surprised, but who would have thought that Kasper Schmeichel would have went to Nice at the start of the year? Aaron Ramsey, even Morgan Schneiderlin's at the team. So he's obviously not afraid to put money into a club, which is a good sign as well. So he's ticking all the boxes for me for one of the first people who's come on board to be available to buy the club. But FC United's made a very fair point there. If you go down and have a look at it, Omundi, yeah.
Well, FC United forever. I mean, yeah, she's our finance correspondent, and she seems to know a lot about the inside of the club. You know what's really going on. She's saying here, very good comment. She's saying, "Well, club books will be open shortly. I can see Jim Ratcliffe running miles when he sees it." So, sort of suggesting that there's a lot of messy things going on within the books of the club.
Yeah,
for sure. What do you think? Can you answer your own question there, Dan? What's your feeling on that? About having a tap or a ceiling to sort of what's been spent and thing. Because the Premiership, I'm going to come on to something in a minute once you finish, but I want to hear your thoughts on that before we do.
I personally think that it shouldn't be implemented. That's why I wanted to ask it, is because I personally think that it shows what loans or not. So let's say for the Glazers, for example, that I'm only 19, so pretty much the entire existence of the Glazers that's all I've known. Yeah. So their 17 years of power is literally, I was 2 when they came into power. So for me, it's all I've ever known. So I've never seen the Glazers invest their own money into Manchester United. So to me, it shows what is a great owner and what is a Glazer owner, strictly speaking. So I feel like that, not that there should be a cap for for a budget for teams, but I think there should actually be something where the owners have to invest some of their own money into the team every season instead of just using generated money.
Interesting that, because wasn't there a ruling after what happened to Chelsea? There's a new law to state about owners coming in. should that be the same after what we've experienced with the Glazers? I'm not sure. But before we go into that, and we will come to the comments as well, I just want to read this out as well, because it's a long, drawn-out thing, but it's very important, and it's on subject as well. So the Glazers Man United sell plans a sign that the Premier League has hit a maximum value. So it's saying here, football finance expert Kieran Maguire believes that the Glazers family decision to consider selling Manchester United could be the sign that some of the Premier League's wealthy owners feel they have extracted as much value as they can from the competition. Could it be said that we're at a maximum Premier League? Maguire said. That's in the sense that what owners were hoping to extract through the European Super League, and also by taking control of domestic game under the big project picture, is no longer there. As a consequence, they don't see any opportunity to further monetize their brand. That's a horrible term, but the Glazers, or the Liverpool principal owner, John Henry, don't care if their club win, lose, or draws. Their focus is purely on the bottom line. I think Chelsea was very much the catalyst, and there are other Premier League clubs who are quietly up for sale. Everybody has taken a huge interest in what's happened in the last 12 months. Regarding Newcastle, said Newcastle have caused a further ripple because 6 into 4 doesn't go in terms of Champions League places, and 7 into 4 makes it even more challenging. So, yeah, have we sort of reached a plateau now with these foreign owners coming in? I mean, when the Premier League was set up, they did encourage this. It opened the door for foreign investment to come in and take over. And we've seen the rise of Chelsea, who really hadn't won a league since, I don't know, God knows, the 50s maybe. They weren't really a big club, as in winning major trophies, but a little bit of money investment done that. But the British, we saw the contrast. A British investor, say Jack Walker at Blackburn, he had short-term success, but couldn't sustain it, So I think there does need to be some sort of a cap or sort of level playing field, I feel, with clubs, to make it a bit fairer. They were saying about the Division 3 clubs, the money being filtered down. It's still not filtered down correctly in that respect, because the Premier League seems to be creating a lot of money through TV revenue and that kind of thing, and still not getting a balance there. Your thoughts on that, Pat? What was just read out and capping things up?
Yeah, there could be something a little bit interesting there. The way the fact that the Glazers and the Liverpool owners are about trying to sell the club at once. I never thought about it like that. But to say it's plateaued or it's reached its peak, I find that very hard to believe, because it feels like we've finally started to overshadow the Spanish league as the biggest club, biggest league, with the most valuable players. That's what I feel at the moment. And we're only starting to reach that now in the last couple of years. And we're not running away with it at the moment, So I think there's a lot more room for growth and better players to be attracted to the Premier League across other clubs instead of just Manchester City.
But where does it end? I mean, anyone could be taken over then. Next thing you know, Millwall could end up being invested in and come up and be another giant. So as they were saying about, you can only get this 4 Champions League spaces. Newcastle has proven the league doesn't lie. They're performing really well with that extra money they have now and a good manager and a good investments. And Dan, so what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that Premier League has sort of reached a plateau now? And because you're the one who raised the question about sort of leveling things up to make it more a fairer playing field.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like that with let's say, for example, Manchester City coming first, Arsenal coming second, Spurs third, United fourth. Let's say that, for example. I feel like that obviously the Premier League obviously pay what team places what every single year, every single season. So I feel like that each club, no matter where you finish, you can invest what you win off the Premier League, for example. But then I feel like that the owners should invest a certain amount, should have to invest every single season. So they don't have to do everything in both transfer windows in summer and January, but they have to invest a certain amount every single season to actually show that they actually care about the club and stuff. And it's not for self-benefit really for the owners. But
so is that the issue here about, because we're coming to an end of the Glazer era, is that the issue here, that you want to see investors actually caring about the club? Because as it said in that statement, they don't care if they win, lose or draw.
Yeah, because I feel like that the Glazers have already have always spent money, but it's not their money, and it's everything that. So it's like me paying for this United shirt has probably contributed to Ronaldo, for example. Like it's our money. It's like taxes. Like we pay taxes that goes into government funding, which is like helps out for universal credit, for example. Yeah. So it's just like a massive cycle. And that's the frustration part, because it's like the rich getting richer and the poorer getting poorer in a way. That's the way it seems. And it's just like a massive cycle, just a massive circle. So for me, it's just frustrating that I want to have a viable owner that actually cares about the club, but maybe that if the Glazers didn't employ bankers and they actually employed football people, we actually might have liked the Glazers, because if we had football people who knew what they were doing, and we would have had proper football coaches and everyone like that, we might not be in this situation. But I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So I feel like that the Glazers have done what they've done for the last 17 years, and now they know the time is up. So hopefully that if Sir Jim Ratcliffe becoming Manchester United's owners is like a fairy tale. It's too good to be true, and that's why I feel like it won't happen. As much as I like it to happen, because you know that if Sir Jim Ratcliffe came into the club, he would invest everything. He'd get a new training ground. He'd invest in the stadium. He'd get the right people in. And my only fear of a new owner is that would they do what they did with Chelsea, where they get rid of Ten Hag because they want their own man in? That's my only fear, because to me, Ten Hag is the fans' manager. It's like if it wasn't for the fans' outburst of the Pochettino situation, Pochettino would be our manager right now. So hopefully, whatever owner comes in surely knows that the Ten Hag is the fans' manager, and hopefully they stick by him.
Yeah, we've seen that with Chelsea. It's the pathetic amount of managers they go through. Just to go through some comments now, guys. We don't forget about you. Emma's saying when it comes to football, then winning makes money. They haven't really caught on to that. We want to win. Yeah, that's right. We want to win major trophies. Paul Tierney, how you doing? He says, did you realise how wealthy Ten Hag family happened to be? Own a real estate business, may know someone, brothers run it, I think. Say there. Simon Davis saying, I think Dan has a massive point regarding the playing field. It ain't level. So there you go, Dan. Big up, Dan. Bill Badger saying, no club in England should be 100% owned by a different country. I think that's a slap at the Middle Eastern. Who is it? Is it Man City? No. Or PSG, sorry. PSG maybe. Andy Herbert saying, Glazers haven't paid off the debt when they bought Man United, I've heard. And we're just getting a clarification here. There's a debt of 1.5 billion at the moment from FC United, who I trust sources. Emma's saying, Anthony Herbert, they've only paid anything towards the debt, so it wouldn't get too high in regards of interest. Matthew Bassett saying they want to run the club dry and then get even more. It's down to what they value the club at price-wise. FC United forever saying Jim owns another at home in Switzerland. Simon Davis has contributed brilliantly today. Big up, Simon. Repetition carries conviction, he's saying. And again, he's saying if things don't change, they will simply remain the same. That's right. Emma's saying here, new owners can't get rid of Ten Hag. They need to establish a proper relationship with the fans as one of the first things, or they get the same treatment as the Glazers. We're going to wind up very soon, so we're just going to come to an end of it now. 20 people in the comments. Make sure you press the like button. And big up to Dan as well, who's going to give us a shout out to where he's from. So he hopefully come back again. So Pat, with all this going on, I mean, it's a lot to take in. We need to learn our finances. We need to learn about the business world. I know you know more than me, but do you think it's important here? Because there's also the Red Knight Foundation. They're a group of wealthy United supporters. I know there's Red Knights. They've been heavily linked with the club as well. So are you more in favour now of giving it to someone like Ratcliffe or the Red Knights, who have better interests maybe for the club and the fans and more understanding? And do you think the fans should also be part of the decision-making process about who's coming in next, and granted based on what we've had to experience with the Glazers?
Obviously, the fans have to have a say. That's a given. But like you look at the likes of Leicester City. Leicester City, how well have Leicester City been run for the last God knows how many years? Okay, their owners are only worth a net worth of about 1.7 billion. Right? They're not rich, but they have a well-run club. Okay, So if they can have a well-run club on that kind of money, how well could Sir Jim Ratcliffe run it on his own 30 billion, let alone the money that his petrochemical company is worth of something ridiculous of 65 billion. So would I like to have it owned by some Saudis or Qatar or Abu Dhabi in favour of someone like Jim Ratcliffe? No, I wouldn't. I'd rather have a Manchester United fan with a net worth of a lot of money run the club any day of the week. So I would like to stick to Jim for now. And even the Red Knights is probably not a bad idea either, because it's a consortium of Manchester United fans with the best interest of the club. So they would be me two teams in favour at the moment.
And finally to you, Dan, I mean, we've learned about Ten Hag's tactics, and that's been a big, massive thing this season, trying to learn how he plays his style of football, that kind of thing. But now we have to learn about the other side of the game, the business side of the game. And you seem to know a lot about it. It sounds like you've really invested your time into learning about this side of the game. What are your final thoughts on this now? Are you excited about Ratcliffe and maybe the Red Knights? And do you agree with Pat? Would you rather favour these guys who would have an interest? And do you think they'd be a bit more transparent about how the club's going forward?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like we were passionate about the Leicester situation, it seems that Leicester can pick up gems like that. Like, look at Mahrez, look at Kante, look at all these, Ndidi, all these players that they've picked up for such low prices and turned them into really good players. So obviously that's down to good scouting and good coaching. So I feel like that if you get a viable owner who has actual football people in the club and not like ex-legends, bankers, and all these people, I'd rather call them something else that begins with a W. You know what I mean? But anyway, I just feel like you said, I mean, before I said about would you take a Saudi owner? And for me, it's no, because if you've got an owner that actually supports the club, you know they're going to want to do everything to make sure that club's back on top. And it's like an extra motivation for him, because it's like every United fan probably dreams of owning Manchester United. And they'd be like, if I was manager, if I was the owner, I'd do this, this, and this. It's like, and everyone's different. But I honestly think that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he's a very smart man. And he would want, if he was to buy Manchester United, he would 100% would get the right people in, and hopefully Manchester United can kick off from there. But that's just my take on it. Really, I feel like that I would favour Sir Jim Ratcliffe over a Saudi owner, for example.
I think we all agree there. We're all on the same page. Snap, guys. And I think, most of the people in the comments agree as well. Just say, Emma was saying here about the Leicester owner, because we were talking about him. He's passed away now. Rest in peace. He was saying after the games, he'd come in the dressing room and just showed he really loved the club. And he understands, how important, she understands how important it is for us. So I think, it's really significant, isn't it? We sort of understand what the business is like before we get fooled again, because it's all about money really, but we need to get behind the people that have got the best interest in the club, and really support these guys and make sure they get the chance to run the club going forward. Because I do think, like as you were saying before, being as huge as we are, we can be self-sustainable, and our main thing is about bringing youth players in. You mentioned about signing cheap players, that's their model. But I think we've got a great academy. If we just fix up things, invest in the training ground, invest in the academy, get things up to scratch, we can still sort of bring up players as we have done so often, and we get the fans have an association with the players, don't we? I mean, we look at the class of '92, Busby Babes. That's our history. That's our identity. So hopefully we don't go down that road where we just think, oh, let's just buy someone new who's hot right now. I don't like that. I think we should develop players, and we've done it consistently. So hopefully that'll be going forward. That'll be the main thing for the club for success. And you get more feel, don't you? They talk about Chelsea's always quiet. The fans they've it's like everything's bought for them. They get spoiled. Look at Man City, all that investment they have. It's a quiet stadium and don't have that sort of association. It's only Phil Foden who's really come through the ranks, and so you expect more than that. But anyway, we're going to wind it up now. Just a couple more comments before we shut down. I want to say Abnormal Adventures. That's a lovely name. He's saying best bet is Dubai or Qatar ownership. Both had no presence in the league. Jim, as good as he would be, would not be able to spend or invest vast sums of money on the team or infrastructure, as the Abu Dhabi group would be able to do. Paul Tierney saying, not forgetting the best in Kante bargain for Leicester. Great point. They just went for data. They bought Mahrez and Kante on data, didn't they? Bill Badger saying, do we not want the club sold back to the fans? Yes, we do. We want some ownership. We want some say. And finally, Emma saying, we are rich enough to do it ourselves. You need a proper to put it right in place. I think we need a proper guy or whatever. Maybe any of you guys can volunteer. I don't know. Maybe in the future. You're young enough, Dan. You can do that. Before we go, I just want to say, Dan, it's been a pleasure having you this trip. You're true red, which means you're always welcome here to eat at our table with us. Just let us know about your socials, what you do, where you're from, and you got a podcast, you got a channel as well.
Yeah, so this is my Twitter at Dan_CoffMU. Where I just rant about Twitter on Twitter every now and again. I mean, obviously it's a lot more not uncensored now, thanks to Elon Musk. Hopefully he could buy Manchester United, maybe. But no, I have my own channel called Red Devils TV. I also hit 100 subscribers today, so that's so thank you for that.
Well done, Dan.
Thank you. So yeah, it's just me by myself. I just make some videos. While the World Cup's going, I'm just making some more kind of YouTube shorts, and I've started this new series called What Is Next. So I'm talking about individual players, about what's going to happen to them. So I've recently spoke about Sancho and about his poor form and how does he get back into the team. And then my most recent one is about Garnacho, about the new contract he's supposed to be getting and stuff, and about can he keep his form going after the World Cup. But yeah, I just rant on about United constantly because it's my passion. I love talking about United, and I love talking to people like you two, and obviously the comments as well, where we're just all passionate Manchester United fans, and we all want the same thing. So I feel like there should be no division in the fan base. We all want United to be back on top, and that's how I feel like we should all just get along, and no one's bigger red than the other. I think.
Just shout out your YouTube channel again.
Red Devils TV.
Hey guys, whoever's watching, do it now. Red Devils TV. Go and subscribe and support this young man Dan, who's a proper Man United red, and we love you, man. We'd like to see you back here soon. Pat, last word to you. What do you think of Dan? I mean, young guy, but he's got it, mate. He's doing it, man. Doing bits.
Top man. We've got to get you back on again. And with all your knowledge, we're going to call you Sir Dan Ratcliffe. We are.
That's right. That's right. Big up, guys. We'll be back tomorrow, obviously, at 8:30 or maybe 9 o'clock because of these World Cup games. We might reschedule for 9 p.m. so we don't lose some views. I know you guys are tuning into the Canada game as well. But this Friday is England. They're playing the USA, aren't they? And that's an evening game. It kicks us at 7. So just check the channel out to see if we do change the times. Apart from that, big up to Dan, big up to Pat Lawless, big up to everyone in the comments as well, and the newbies as well. I love to see new guys coming in and chiming in and giving us our P's and Q's. Less swearing, please. I know who you are. Really enjoyed this show. As you know, I don't know much about finance, but I think slowly learning, but we'll get there eventually. Big up, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, 8:30 or 9 o'clock. We are the Man United Agenda. That's been Dan, that's been Pat, and we're out. Good night.